Denmark's prime minister has just apologized to 22 children who were removed from their homes in Greenland in the 1950s in a failed social experiment. This is as shocking as it sounds. These children were taken to Denmark to be re-educated as little Danes so that they could later be returned to Greenland to foster cultural links and, quote, modernize the country. But when 16 did finally return, they were put in an orphanage, and many never saw their families again. Only 6 of them are now alive. We have journalist and author Anne-Sophie Aller joining us from Copenhagen now. So tell us about this social experiment. Who were these children and why were they taken?
They were taken from different places in Greenland, and Greenland is this autonomous territory way up in the Arctic region, quite far away from Denmark, and also very culturally different to the Danish population here. And so about 70 years ago, the idea was to not only improve these children's lives, but also to enable these children to be like an avant-garde that were to push ahead development within Greenland. At that point, the Greenlandish region was quite poor. It was after the Second World War. And so that was the sort of altruistic, idealistic motive that made not only the Danish government and Greenlandish authorities, but also charitable organizations participate in selecting these children from different parts of Greenland and putting them into this program. That was an experiment, essentially. Even priests helped selecting the children. Ideally, they would have been orphans, but they couldn't find enough orphans. So they selected children that had families and removed them from these families.
They removed them forcibly, I imagine.
Yeah.
Now, you know, this is called a failed social experiment. Obviously, this did not work out in the way that the Danish government or the Danish government hoped would happen. I mean, what ended up happening to these kids afterwards? Why did they call this a failed social experiment?
It was very tragic. I think one has to see this in historical context. In the 50s, it was still the times of eugenics. We were still forcefully sterilizing women in this country, and we saw people politics. We wanted to optimize the population, and so that was the idea behind it. But it failed miserably. These children had very tough lives. They found themselves in a limbo between the Greenlandish culture that they left. They weren't able to language-wise and culturally reintegrate into Greenland when they grew up and was sent back. And even in Denmark, they were still seen as different. So many of them, unfortunately, suffered from abuse, from not really having the type of life that was intended for them. And sadly, at this point of the apology from the Danish Prime Minister, only 6 of the 22 are alive. In fact, very few of them reached the age of 70.
How did this story come to light, and why is Denmark only just now saying something officially? I mean, apologizing officially. It's clearly been quite some time.
Well, I think there are many things, many aspects to this. The Greenlandish Inuit population, they have been pushing for more and more autonomy, but also more of a cultural revival and a reassertment of sorts vis-a-vis the Danish population. There's always been a bit of a disequality, or maybe even a very big disequality, if you see it from the part of the Inuit population, that the Danes have felt superior, not really regarded the Greenlandish as their rightful peers. And so the Greenlandish have been pushing for this for a long time. And I think there's a lot of, right now, it coincides with a big report and investigation into this matter that has just been released. And also, this is a government that wants to put things in the past right. They've also apologized to children in an orphanage back in the same era in Denmark so recently. So this government is happy to rectify things in the past.